everybody, welcome to Across the Pond. This is the mid-month episode, and QJ is sick with lots of sniffles and coughs, and I don't feel good, but I'm getting better. And
Yay.
yeah, Spiegel and I are still living at Piddle's house because the movers just took our stuff to Africa or something. I don't know where I don't know where my bed is. I haven't slept in a bed in a month.
Oh no.
So yeah, they'll probably come home at some point and interrupt, and then the show will be over. The end. How's this month been for you, Kat?
It's been pretty alright for me. I've been just
Okay.
sitting around procrastinating all the work that I'm supposed to be doing. It's pretty good.
Good. So this is the mid-month episode where we talk about what QJ's done this
Yes.
month. We talk about games I've played, books I've read, comics or mangas I've gone through, shows I've watched. Unfortunately, I haven't played any games this month because Piddle and Spiegel hog the Switch and the TV. Spiegel spent all his time looking for 100 Koroks, and he almost died. And I'm not comfortable playing games when I'm not sitting in my own home, so I wasn't able to
Yeah.
relax. But I did read a book. I can't remember the author's name, but the book is called Genie, Genie, and it's this nonfiction book about this teenage girl who was rescued from a very abusive, negligent home where she was neglected and almost never spoken to during the first 13 years of her life. And after being taken in by Social Security or whatever, they were able to sort of what
Is this
question?
Is this non-fiction? Are we talking non-fiction here? Because I remember this.
We're talking nonfiction.
Yeah, I remember this. We did this in A-level psychology. This was a case study we did.
Oh, cool.
About
Yeah, I think
developmentation or whatever.
I think this book is used as a textbook in a lot of college level classes. Yeah, they were able to study the development of language through her.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't talk. She could say 2 words at the age of 13 when they found her. And through the years of not only trying to care for her as a human and give her the love and nurturing that she needs, but also be study her like a scientific project. There was a lot of conflicts going on between a lot of the people that were in her life and taking care of her, and should we do this for science or should we do this for her, and who's going to be her legal guardian. And there were a lot of different controversies going on through several years of her life, at least the ones that took place in this book. And it was really interesting. I learned a lot about how language develops in your brain and how certain things develop at a certain age, and if things aren't triggered at certain ages, they kind of get lost and can never really be found again. Something I thought was really interesting is that I might get this backwards, but language is mainly used in the right hemisphere of the brain, mainly. And when they started teaching her how to talk, she learned a lot of basic words and small sentence structure, but it didn't develop at the same speed as maybe a toddler.
Yeah.
And after a certain point, it kind of halted. Her syntax didn't develop the way an adult's would. And when they would read her brain when she was talking, a lot of it was on the other side of her brain, on the left side of her brain, where most people's language use is not. So it was kind of it was she was using language the only way she could, but she was using a different part of her brain than we ever have.
Yeah.
So it was bizarre. And there was a whole chapter on how sign language is different than spoken language, which I loved because that's what I studied when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
And the chapters kind of switched back and forth between what we were learning about her and about language and about how it was related to maybe how she was abused when she was a baby, and the next chapter would be something political, how the grant that they would receive for this, or who she was going to go to as far as custody. And I'm not sure how I felt about it because I think I was expecting something else. I was hoping to learn a little more about language development in the brain, but a lot of it had to do with the idea that this girl had gone through such a tragedy, and yet we were learning so much from it. And the idea, it's crazy that there are certain things we can only learn by maybe neglecting a human being for the first premature years of its life, but you can't do that because of moral responsibilities. Yeah. So yeah, it's really interesting. Like the first chapter of the book talked about this like old king like thousands of years ago who um like took two babies from their mother and had them raised in a cave by this guy
Hmm.
who like was forced to never talk to them and to see like what language they spoke when they grew up. And it was like, dude, you can't do that. That's no, that's not nice. You're
Yeah.
not supposed to do that. So yeah, it was a really interesting book. I don't have it with me anymore, which is a shame because I had some really cool lines dog-eared.
Yeah.
But I could bring them up at another episode, I guess. Um, so that was a really cool book.
Yeah,
I
that's
haven't
neat.
read nonfiction in a while, but
No.
yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. There were some chapters that I was kind of like slogging through because they were a little boring, but the
Yeah.
stuff about language, like, oh, it's so cool. Language is so interesting.
Yeah, because it's kind of
Yeah.
like how if you get to a certain age, picking up a second language is so much harder because you're not in that early
Yes.
stage of development. Kind of like because
Yep. Exactly.
I always get curious about people who grow up with two languages and whether or not like whether they're learning it differently. Because when I was learning like French or German, it was like I felt like with the right side of the brain, left side of the brain, like I was taking it in a different way. Like I was remembering
Yeah.
the words as like facts, like the same way I would learn like the like the depth of an ocean is this deep. I would be like, okay, this word means
Yeah.
this in French, and it would be like facts and figures instead of how I just
Like
naturally
when
know
you and I are learning a second
words.
language, like we're still taking it in as like English and we're still
Yeah,
thinking in English
yeah,
and
it's
we're
like
like, how can I relate
contextually.
this word to an
Yeah,
English word and remember it, instead of
yeah.
yeah. Like I would love to just like go to like India or something and like move in with a family and be like, don't speak English to me ever. And I will just like be a baby and somehow learn this language.
Yeah,
Just
I don't
like
know
take
if
it
you'd
all
be
in.
able to though. I like
No, with an adult brain, I think it would be really hard
yeah, it'd be
because I would
ridiculous.
still be thinking in English.
Yeah, but I'm always really
Mhm.
interested in how people who do have dual languages, if they see it differently, like if they just have two languages that just are natural and that's just how it works, and
Yeah.
like
And if they're a
it's just
baby, if
something,
they even realize it's two languages,
yeah,
you
it's
know,
just something I can't even
because it's
comprehend. Like just knowing those two things and just being able to speak them in the
yeah.
same way that I speak English, being able to also speak a different language, just I cannot
Mhm.
wrap my head around that. It's just
Yeah.
odd.
There was a point in college where I started to dream in sign language.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I wish I wish I still had the opportunity to speak it more, but that requires being around people, and
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Anyway, I did spend like a 3-day weekend on this retreat with a bunch of deaf people, and I was the
Yeah.
only person there that was hearing. And by the end of it, I was like, my eyes, my eyes hurt so
Oh, that's
much.
really cool.
Ah, yeah,
That's
yeah, it's
super
crazy
neat.
stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm. So that was the book I read. Some comic books I read. Well, I
Yep.
read Saga Volume 7, but I'm afraid we're not going to talk about that this month because you haven't gotten a hold of it yet.
Yep.
But
Spoilers. Can't spoil it.
yeah, spoilers. There's a big number 7 on the front.
What? No, I can't. I'm not gonna read it now. You've ruined it. No, Saga's
um,
amazing though. Oh, it's like the best.
yeah,
I'm
but I
excited.
did read. I did read the comic that you got me for Christmas, Hellcat,
Yay! Did you enjoy it?
which is yeah, super cute.
It's
Reminded me
adorable.
a lot of Squirrel Girl.
Yeah.
Just like I like how the liberties that the artist takes,
Mm-hmm.
where there will be certain panels that are very detailed and very, um, like, like they look like real people, like just
Yeah.
walking around. And then the next panel will be like little chibi drawings where they're
Yep.
just like little, like almost little anime, like
Yeah.
cartoon
It,
with like just little nubs for arms. And they're just like,
yeah.
like,
It's drawn
it's
like a
so cute.
cartoon. Like that's basically the way it is, and it's adorable. I love that series, and I love how it's just like because Marvel have a lot of these coming out at the moment where it's just really low stakes kind of adventures with
Yeah.
characters that they're not sure what to do with, and they just kind of hand it to a writer and an artist and just say, just do that. Like they did it with Squirrel Girl and it worked. They did it with Howard the Duck for Chip Zdarsky and it was amazing. And they've done it for Hellcat now,
Yeah.
and it
I
goes
feel
really
like they're
well.
trying to
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like they're trying to like soften up the Marvel universe a little bit
yeah,
after several years of not only the movies but the comics being so gritty and so dark and
Yeah.
so comic books, like they're not even fun anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's just being mean and dying, and all the lighting is dark, and all the like drawing is edgy and pokey, and,
Well,
and like you got Squirrel Girl and Hellcat, and even like Ms. Marvel, which
Yeah.
deals with a lot of very serious and somber topics, but it's also like, you know, teenage girl
It's
going
fun.
through her life having fun.
Yeah, well, it's because like in the '90s there was like this peak of like dark, gritty. Like every character had like spikes and skulls everywhere, and like it was like most edgy period in comic book history. And it's been a slow,
Yeah.
like it's not just a sudden now thing, but there's been a slow kind of like through the 2000s. They weren't sure what they were doing, so they kind of slowly got more and more fun and lighthearted. And now we're because I mean there are still kind of like darker things happening in the Marvel universe in the comics, and I think
Yeah.
that's the best thing about the Marvel universe is that you can read a comic about like Daredevil or the Punisher or whatever, and it's like this down to earth gritty thing, and then you can read about Hellcat trying to get other low level superheroes together to like do temp work, and
Yeah.
it's just silly and fun, and it doesn't
It's
matter, and
adorable.
it's like whatever, who
And
cares?
when I read like Hellcat and Squirrel Girl, I
Yeah.
really do feel like I'm like, is this Nickelodeon or something? Because it'll be like, I'm gonna fight this bad guy, and either it's like, hey, bad guy, you should be nice instead,
Yeah.
and go work for this bread company and make bread with your funny superpowers.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, that's a good idea. Or the bad guy goes to jail, and all their henchmen are like, yeah, they weren't very nice. I think I'll be a good guy instead.
Yeah.
Like, this is all so easy, but it's also really, I don't know, it's really cute. Like,
yeah, it's just fun. That's just
I don't know.
like
Yeah,
it's just fun. Like it's clearly like
I feel like it's what comic books were like
Yeah.
in the 60s. Like, kids just wanted to read stuff to laugh at and be like, yeah, back when Superman was just a funny dude flying around saving people and
Yeah.
saying funny things, and before
before
like,
Zack
trying to
Snyder
fight-
got his hands on it.
yeah, trying to fight with other superheroes. Whatever.
Yeah, I really
we
like.
got the next Civil War
Okay.
coming out, or maybe it's already out, and we've got
It
more
is out.
beloved characters that are going to be fighting each other. It's going to be sad.
I don't know. I haven't read Civil War 2. I think it might be good. Who knows? Civil War 1 was actually a really good series. Like comic books can be really good when they're
Oh, it
serious,
was.
but you need the light-hearted to balance out the dark and gritty
Yes.
sometimes. And I think that currently the Marvel universe does that really well. Like because you have all these like low-tier, goofy comics coming out, and then you have like the serious ones, and it's good. I like it. I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
Oh, if you want something like that, you should read Gwenpool as well. Gwenpool is so good because it's so
Okay.
doofy. Because like she's so wet, like she's basically a person from the real world that's been pulled into the Marvel universe and is like aware of all the tropes. So she's like using it to her advantage. She's like, if I have a costume in this universe, then I'm a superhero. Then I'll have a series about me, and then I won't die. And she's just like completely using the meta to her advantage. And it's like it's so good.
It hurts my brain.
It's really
While we're
dumb, but
doling
it's
out-
great.
While we're doling out suggestions, off the Marvel universe, have I suggested No Mercy to you?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to continue suggesting that. I think, yeah, it's an
Okay.
Image comic that I think you'd enjoy.
Okay.
Really well written.
Cool.
Now we're gonna go to TV shows.
TV shows. Yeah.
TV shows. We're gonna start with an anime that I watched last night. I watched the entire thing last night because there were only 11 episodes, and it was like watching a really, really long movie.
Yeah.
Tokyo Magnitude 8.0.
Okay.
Now, yeah, this was suggested to me by Josh. He told me, I think he said it was like one of the saddest animes ever.
Yeah.
And it was okay.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think Josh is going to be very happy with me, but it was really well drawn, really well written. The voice actors did a great job. It was a really good story. I feel like it dragged on a little. Like this could have just been like a nice like hour and 40 minutes movie, but with
Yeah.
11 episodes, it was like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay.
And it ended up being really, really sad at the end. And it was sad in my brain, but
Mhm.
not in my heart. Like I was like, oh, that's that's really
Yeah.
touching, but like it didn't make me feel
Yeah.
for the characters, which I don't know what they could have done better to make me more emotionally involved with the main character. So the story of this anime, spoiler alert, this girl about 12 years old and her little brother about 8 years old, they live in Tokyo and they take a bus like far from their home to the mall, and then there's this earthquake, 8.0 magnitude, and it like destroys the entire city. And like the second episode, like she thought he's been killed, and she like spends the whole episode searching for him, and they find this lady who helps them out, and she helps, find their way back home. Turns out this lady's got a daughter and a mother that she's got to get home to, and they have a really good character development for this girl. Her name is Mirai, and she kind of hates her life, and she's just preteen angst. I hate when my parents yell at me. I hate school. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, so I'm just like have a bad attitude about everything.
Yeah.
And getting through this tragedy kind of, even though in the beginning she's constantly telling people, don't treat me like a little kid. I'm not a little kid. Stop trying to help me. I'm not a little kid.
Yeah.
She kind of actually grows up through this and realizes, oh, it's okay for people to help me. It's okay for me to tell people that I need help, because that doesn't mean, I'm a child. Like, I'm just a person trying to get through life like everyone else.
Yeah.
And at one point near the end of the series, her brother gets sick and passes out, and they take him to an emergency center, and she has a dream that he dies, and then she wakes up and he's there like playing soccer with a bunch of other kids, and it's like, okay, it's time to go home. And then throughout the last few episodes, it's kind of strange. Like it doesn't seem strange until you start to suspect that something funny is going on, which I did.
Yeah.
Because Mirai tells the lady that they were traveling with, like, oh, we'll visit you together. And the lady says, together? And that's when I was like, oh,
yeah.
that boy died. And the sister is now hallucinating that he's with her. And so this boy's memory or ghost or whatever travels with her back home, because she's like, I can't go home without Yuki. Yuki's her little brother. And she's like, I can't go home without him. Mom and Dad would be so sad. I'm just not going to go back home. But he sticks there with her, like I'm going to be here with you, like, while you go all the way back home. And, you have to get back to Mom and Dad. And she continues to just, he has to tell her, I died. That wasn't a dream. And now no one else can see me, because she keeps trying to be like, oh, here's Yuki, here's your friend. And the friend's like, I don't see him.
Yeah. Oh, that's sad. Oh, well.
It was really sad. And they get back home, and the parents are all like, oh, it's not your fault. And it's family reunion. It's all nice again. And it kind of shows their life recuperating after the earthquake.
Yeah.
And she's like, you'll always be with me, and I'm going to be happy because you brought me back home, and blah, blah, blah. And it's really touching. And yet, I don't know, I didn't care that much. Oh. Something about the tone or the way it was played out, I was just like, okay, this is a pretty good anime, but it wasn't something that I was enthralled with.
Okay.
I definitely respect it for what it is, but yeah, it's no Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Oh, we talking about Kobayashi's Dragon Maid now? Is that what's happening?
I think that's what's happening.
No, it's basically the best anime of all time, and I will never watch any other.
You've only watched one anime.
Hey, I've watched
you
three
probably
animes.
should. Three. Yeah. Really? But movies don't count. We're talking about TV shows.
I've watched 3 whole animes.
Okay, wait, which ones?
Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Naruto.
Isn't that 80 seasons or something?
Okay, I didn't watch the whole of it, because no one watches the whole of Naruto. Come on.
Naruto is not slice of life, so I don't care about it. So what's the next
ninjas, one? Come on. And then I'm currently watching Parasite, which is about a guy who gets a parasite on his hand, and it's pretty funny. I liked it.
Okay.
I'm enjoying it. Anyway, but Dragon Maid, so.
Just based on the tone and everything that goes on in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, I feel like there's a lot of other animes that I could suggest to you that you might love. So we will talk about that later in the yeah.
No,
we'll talk about that later in the verbal comment section. Now you're going to be all biased, and you're going to be like, I don't like this because there's no dragon in it. I love dragons, by the way. I don't know why it didn't click to me every time you were like, watch Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Yeah,
When, like,
dragons.
that there
They're
would
so
be
cool.
a dragon in it. Because she showed up at her door and she was a dragon, and I was like, yes, dragons!
I love that show. I don't even know where to start on that show. It's just the best.
I don't know either. It's so cute.
It's weird because like it's adorable
Where do you
and
start?
hilarious and like I just love it. It's just every
Yeah.
minute of that show just makes me really happy. I'm just like sat there with a big smile plastered on my face. Like it's just it's beautiful.
It's the perfect definition of like slice of life mixed with fantasy.
Yeah.
Because you got seemingly normal people just going through life, and like
Yeah.
someone new comes into their life and kind of changes them, and she even says like, oh yeah, I've been smiling a lot more lately
Yeah.
ever since Toru came around. And it's just so silly that she came into her life because Kobayashi was drunk and was like, I'm gonna take the sword out of you, dragon! Like, and now you can come to my house.
Be my
And
maid.
she's like, you said I could live here, and she's like, oh fine. And all of a sudden they're family.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
really cute.
Kana shows up, and Kana's so adorable.
I know, right?
And she's got her little monotone voice and her little like droopy eyes.
yeah.
And she's just like, I want food. Or like, my hands are cold. I'm going to put them on your cheeks.
Yeah.
And like, la da da da. Oh, I love Kana. She's so adorable.
Yeah, she's like the best. Oh, just everything about that
Mhm.
show is amazing. I love I think my favorite part of it is when Toru just can't adapt and she just keeps being like near the start and she's just like, we will destroy the weak, pathetic humans.
Oh yeah. Like, I'll kill them for you. No, don't do that.
And then like in like I think it's the first episode where someone tries to rob their apartment and she's just like, and I didn't even get to kill them. Oh, it's
She's
so
like,
good.
don't do that.
And I love how
Mm.
it almost feels like a parody of the kind of action animes as well, because they have like all of the really cool like shots of like where like the anime-esque action shots, you know what I mean? But they're using them
Yeah.
not for a battle, but for them playing dodgeball.
Playing.
You know?
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, or when she and Kana are just like blasting their fire breath at each other.
yeah.
And Kobayashi's like, you need to play at a human level. And they're like, okay. And they like pretend to copy her and like push each other down. They're like, it's so silly to play like humans. And they're all like, haha, humans are so weak. She's just like, ugh.
Oh, it's such. If you haven't watched this show, you should probably watch it because it's great and I love it.
It's really adorable.
I think the fact that it gets
And-
my seal of approval says a lot because anime is trash. And I've said that so many times on this show that if I'm suggesting an anime, it means that it must be a good anime, you know?
She doesn't know anything though because she hasn't tested
No.
the waters.
I'm so
Deeply
against anime.
You don't know. You don't know.
No, it's like
You're barely immersed into the world yet. You just you wait. Just you wait.
No, me suggesting an anime.
You're like someone who's watched A Bug's Life and think they know everything about Pixar all of a sudden.
Man, A Bug's Life is trash.
Bug's Life is so underrated. You don't even know.
No, Bug's Life is like one of the worst. I mean, it's fine. But
No, it's not.
okay.
Bug's Life is so good.
Obviously, it's better than Cars and Brave and like the other trash tier picks. But it's like it's.
It's a better story than Brave. It doesn't look better than Brave, but I mean, it is much older.
I mean, I wasn't even comparing the looks. I meant like story wise. Obviously, it's better
Yeah.
than those ones, but it's nowhere near on the level of like top tier Pixar. Like, it's so like mid range, low range.
I just said that it was underrated. Like, it's still a very good movie. People just have completely forgotten
No,
about it,
it's
and it makes me
kinda
sad
meh.
because no, it's good.
Nah, it's alright.
It's no Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, but
Oh, Dragon Maid is so good. I just
something I think
can't even.
I'm gonna try see if I can like explain my thoughts. It's just funny how every episode there's different ways of her trying to adapt into the world,
Yeah.
and like they have their little holiday episodes, and I feel like they're just trying to like shop for food, and she
Yeah.
keeps like trying to feed Miss Kobayashi her tail, and it's all just silliness, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this isn't even serious business, and then you get really sad moments
Yeah.
where they're like, oh,
Really heartfelt
for
moments.
one reason or another, I can't go back to my world because
Yeah.
I've been banished for what I'm doing, and it's not really explained.
Yeah.
But there was a scene in episode 7 that really got to me when Toru was explaining to Kobayashi, like, yeah, to my parents, I'm the weird one. Like,
Yeah.
they wouldn't, I'm the one that doesn't have any common sense, and it's really sad because I can't explain that to them.
Yeah.
And Kobayashi's like, well, maybe you're just becoming more independent, and she thinks to herself, like talking to Toru about this really drives home the difference between understanding words
Yeah.
and understanding each other. And I was like, oh gosh, that's
Yeah.
my heart, because it's so true.
Yeah.
You have those like heartfelt talks with people, and you're like I'm not just understanding what they're saying, I'm starting to understand what they're going through.
Yeah.
And that, just from that short bit that Toru said, and this was when like Kobayashi was sitting on her dragon back like fishing,
Yeah.
and Toru's in her dragon form, and she's like, yeah, my parents just, they think I'm the crazy one for being here, and if I brought you home to them, they would probably kill you because they just don't get it. And it reminds me of any group of people that might be like oppressed or segregated in society, who like gay people, for example, who like maybe grew up with really traditional strict parents, and they just can't explain to their parents like why they live the way they do, and their parents reject them, and maybe a lot of people in society reject them. And at this point, Toru's thinking to herself, like can dragons and humans coexist? Like, maybe I can actually fit in this world. Maybe if people knew a little bit more about me, they would accept me, and I wouldn't have to hide who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm comparing this to people in real life, and I'm like, this is ridiculously real.
Yeah, I know. It's
I
odd.
wasn't expecting it to be so real. Like, that dragons trying to mix with humans would compare so well to certain types of people just trying to live with other people in a normal society and have people, just love them. And made me really sad.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like that kind of theme is in a lot of really good animes I've seen, like people just trying to live harmoniously with one another. I've seen it in Inuyasha. I've seen it in Fruits Basket, and the first Pokemon movie, where they were all like,
I didn't think we were going to a Pokemon movie today.
Like we're all different, but the circumstances of our birth don't make who we are. It's what we do with the gift of life that determines who we are.
Yeah.
Mewtwo.
Yeah, Mewtwo.
Mewtwo said that.
Let's all cry one single tear, and Ash won't be stoned. That's the only thing I remember about that movie.
Oh my gosh.
And there's a postman Dragonite, and he's really cool.
I hated that part.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I love that guy. Dragonite's like the best Pokemon. With Kobayashi's, I think the thing you said earlier about the Earthquake anime, where you said you were feeling it in your brain but not in your heart.
Yeah.
I think it's the reverse for Dragon Maid, because there were a lot of moments where I would be emotionally, like, I'd be feeling something, but I didn't know why. I'd just be like, this moment is just making me, like, just feel. Like there'd be really
feeling but not braining.
Yeah, there'd be like a really heartfelt moment, and I'd be like, this is a dumb anime about dragon maids, but I'm like, I've got a single tear in my eye because it's beautiful, but I don't know why,
Yeah.
And I think
the music was also excellent,
yes.
and I think that helped,
gorgeous soundtrack,
tug at your heartstrings pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to love watching anime in Japanese, because I'm like learning Japanese a little bit, like not officially, but just through anime.
Yeah.
And like my friends who actually know Japanese tell me I'm going to pick up a bunch of bad habits, but I don't care. But like, I would pause like 3 times during an episode and like go Google the word and be like, wait, what does that mean? Or like, how do I use that? And like, what tense and what person are you supposed to use that word with? And there was a scene where Toru was just skipping through the house, saying, la la la, I'm a cute maid. And she said it in such a sing-songy, articulate way that I was able to tell every word she said. And so I repeated that scene like 5 times until I could say it in Japanese. And I'm like, that's my favorite phrase now.
Wow. Yeah. I love that the word hentai refers to a pervert and not specifically animated pornography, which I think is pretty interesting.
I learned that too.
And that's the only thing I love.
Yeah, it's funny the
show.
things that become like discombobulated with language.
Yeah.
Is hentai just means like, oh, you're being perverted, and then we took that word to be like, okay, pornography is perverted, so everyone who watches it is a hentai, and then we'll call the stuff hentai. Like, I don't know, language is funny,
Yeah.
and we've come full circle.
Oh, language. Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like it would be easier for you to learn Japanese if, as a baby, you were watching anime.
Probably, or maybe if I just had Japanese
Although
parents.
that's unethical, forcing a child to watch trash anime.
You're so stupid. Oh man.
Hey, it's a loop, full circle. Come on.
Full circle.
Have you played Breath of the Wild yet? You haven't, have you?
No, because Petal and Spiegel keep bugging me to play it, and every time they ask me, I'm gonna put it off for another week.
Oh my god.
They're annoying.
Why? I want to talk to you about Breath of the Wild so badly.
Maybe next month.
Oh, I'm gonna have words.
Our stuff should be getting here tomorrow, allegedly, but we just sent the movers a very strongly worded email about our demands. So we'll see what happens there.
Is there anything else you've done this month? That's something I could talk about if we got time.
I went to a really cool anime convention in Pittsburgh where I volunteered in the hospitality department. I cooked lots of hot dogs for the staff, and I served everyone drinks, and I drank a lot of it myself, and it was delicious. And I have 3 little bottles of moonshine sitting in a leather pouch in my car now, which is probably not legal, but that's okay.
Isn't the whole point of moonshine that it's illegally brewed? Isn't that the point?
I suppose.
But it's definitely illegal.
It's yummy.
Although actually, I don't know. We're not into prohibition anymore, so you're probably fine. I recently realised that the local pub, and by local pub I mean the chain of pubs that covers the entirety of England, they have an app that you can get on your phone where you can order drinks on the app and you don't have to go to the bar.
You told me about that.
So I've been drinking a lot more than I should. Because we've just been going, because it's like
building up your constitution.
Oh, you don't have to go to the bar anymore. It's amazing. It's like the best thing. You're just like, I'll just have a pitcher of cocktails, chug that one, order another one. It's all good. It's just the best thing ever. It's so good. And then you're just casually like,
British alcoholic.
I want some halloumi as well. Let's order some halloumi in, and then you just sit there eating halloumi because it's on an app, so it's easy.
Words.
Halloumi. Oh, halloumi's so good. Halloumi's like the most delicious.
All these different apps that are being created are just really like pandering to all the introverts and all the millennials who just don't want to talk to actual people.
Oh, you're a millennial
as
well. Come on, don't be slandering.
Yeah, so are you. I'm talking about us. Why not? This is ridiculous.
No, it's not. It's great. There's no queues. I don't have to go to the bar. It's amazing. What other apps are like that? Give me examples of your point.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't, do you?
No.
Yeah, well, good.
Pretty much just the fact that we can order food online and go pick it up later. One of my favorite burger places back where I used to live, I would like it wasn't like a delivery place, it was like a takeaway place or a sit down place, but I could order the food online ahead of time and then go pick it up so I didn't have to
already ready,
wait.
No waiting. Oh, it's the best.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with millennials and our convenient attitudes, right? Don't be slandering that.
No, there's a few things wrong with like never learning how to talk to another human being.
Okay, yeah, that's true, but this is the future. We can order. Also, I talk to the bar staff even when I'm using the app. There's one guy in my local who I've chatted to a few
for you,
times.
aren't you? A special little snowflake.
I've chatted to him a few times.
You use the future apps. And you also talk to people, aren't you?
He brought me on my drink, and I'm like, you're the guy I was talking to, and he just goes, yeah, you're a right pain in the ass, and then just walks off, and I'm like, I guess I just got roasted. The entire table just broke out in a like insane like.
Wow.
Yeah, he just roasted me. It was pretty great.
Hope you tipped him.
I don't tip. I live in England. We pay our workers sufficiently. They don't need tips. They get tips if they do good service.
I would have tipped him for calling you that.
I would, but like using the app, there's no tip option, so and I wasn't going to the bar.
But can you just leave it at the table?
I could have, but then someone might steal it. It's a whole thing.
You're supposed to tip your bartender. That's a thing.
No, it's not. We pay our bartenders properly, so we don't need to tip them. Are we having the tipping argument right
No,
now?
you're thinking of like waiters and waitresses. I mean, I have my opinions on tipping, but what I'm saying is, I mean, I don't know what bartenders get paid, but it's
I'm
just
pretty sure here
it's a thing
they get paid
where
fine. So
because you are usually a giant pain if you're sitting at a bar drinking and being obnoxious and making people serve you drinks and then getting drunk and being annoying. So
not if you have
because
the
of that,
app and then you don't
you
sit
tip
at the
them.
bar.
Yeah, but clearly you were still being a pain because he called you that.
I mean, I've been a pain on previous occasions, and that's why he called me that. That was my first interaction with him on that night, okay? It was a roast. Oh, it was so good. I was so proud of him. I was like, good one, you got me. I'm alright with this.
This is an interesting way to make my episode long enough.
Do you want me to talk about something I've been watching? And by been watching, I mean I've watched 2 episodes of.
Oh wait, no, I was talking about the anime convention.
Okay,
and we started talking about alcohol. Yeah, it was really fun. I bought lots of cute stuff, and there were a lot of people dressed up.
Yeah.
And I listened to lots of really cool J-pop, and there was a really cool live band there that sounded really good. They're called The Magic of Life, and I dressed up as Dipper, and I ran into Bill Cipher, and he had his little Dipper puppet hand that he was controlling me with, and it was really scary. And I also had a steampunk costume that was really cute, and I bought a necklace for it, and yeah, it was fun.
Wow, that's cute.
Saw lots of really cool panels, read some really cool literature on yokai, got the authors to sign it.
Oh, Yoko Watch. I love Yoko Watch. It's like the new It's like Pokemon, but new.
No, not Yokai Watch.
Yoko Watch is the best game. It's the new worldwide phenomenon.
Kat, can you shut up? You're not even listening. I'm talking about the phenomenon of yokai.
Yeah, go on.
You know that yokai existed before Yokai Watch came out, right?
It's an entirely new concept. I've never heard of yokai.
Okay, why don't you talk about your stupid show, because you are being a right pain.
Oh, what? No.
And
you go on.
You're not even gonna tip me for saying that, because you're just gonna be a pain to everybody.
No, tell me about yokai. I'm interested. I was only memeing that. Like, it was a goof. I'm sorry.
No, so I can't remember the guy's name, but I feel like it was a few hundred years ago.
Yeah.
That like this guy in Japan,
yeah.
His grandmother would tell him stories about like monsters and spirits and stuff, and he grew up and basically invented the concept of yokai, which are like little monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could be spirits, and they could embody things and make trouble and mess around.
Yeah.
And this is where Pokemon came from. You know, Digimon, pretty like every anime or story that comes from Japanese folklore that has like monsters in it, those all came from yokai.
Okay.
And like if you read Wayward, which I know that you bought with my suggestion, but you haven't read yet.
I've read
that's
the first
full
volume.
of yokai. Oh yeah? Okay, so that's full of traditional yokai.
Yeah.
And it's essentially like, you know, little spirit monsters.
Yeah.
And like Miyazaki has them all over his movies, and
the little
it's really cool folkloric stuff.
In Princess Mononoke, are the little forest spirit dudes, are they yokai?
Probably.
Cool, thanks.
I think anything that's like a little monster or creature.
Josh, tell me in the comments if that is the case.
It's kind of like Josh
will
actually
know.
probably knows about this. Well, it's kind of like any giant monster is a kaiju.
Yeah, and tiny ones are yokai.
I feel like any little mystical spiritual creatures that are running around or causing trouble, those come from yokai.
Okay, that's cool.
And it's really cool to read about. Yeah, and there was a guy there that writes lots of literature on it, and I bought one of his things, and he signed it, and he has written a lot about Miyazaki, and he loves Princess Mononoke. So when he signed it, he wrote Mononoke Mo problems.
That's pretty cute.
Yep. So
cool.
Yeah. It was a really fun convention.
Nice. Glad you had fun.
I'm gonna do it again next year. Yep.
Do you want me to talk about my dumb show now?
I feel like no one's gonna hear about it because people are probably gonna tune out when we started talking about tipping bartenders. Because I don't know why we went on a really boring tangent there for a minute.
Hey, I don't know. That might be really interesting. Or I might have cut it and you just like called back to it, so now I can't cut it.
Oh, magic.
Anyway, can I talk about my dumb show?
Okay, talk about your dumb show.
Okay, so Marvel and
Not even your
Netflix
episode,
have
but
made some really...
whatever.
Hey, it's TV shows. Come on. I don't have a movie. I do movies, not TV shows, alright? So Marvel and Netflix, in the past, have done some really good shows that I've marathoned all of. Like, every single Marvel Netflix show, up until now, I've marathoned every single one. But I watched 2 episodes of Iron Fist the other day, and then I just stopped, and I don't know if I'm going to pick it back up because it is just boring. It just frustrates me that they decided to do Iron Fist as a Netflix series because
Hmm.
you haven't watched any of them, have you, KJ?
Nope.
No, okay, so the Marvel Netflix series are really good in the sense that they contrast the movies because the movies are like the goofy, big, high stakes, like colorful Iron Man flying around shooting lasers stuff, and then the Netflix series are like the down to earth. I want to say they're gritty, but like whenever you use the term gritty, you always mean like bad, like
Yeah.
Man of Steel is a gritty Superman. But like when you've got a character like Daredevil, it's got to be gritty, you know? It's got to be gritty and down to earth because that's the point of Daredevil.
Yeah.
So like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage. Luke Cage not so much. Luke Cage's second half wasn't that good, but Daredevil season 1 is amazing. Jessica Jones series 1, just the best thing ever. The first half of Daredevil season 2 is amazing. Luke Cage first half is great. Iron Fist should not be a Netflix series because Iron Fist is dumb. He's a wacky karate man who goes around doing kung fu and fighting like dragons, and it shouldn't be a gritty down to
Sounds like
earth
an anime.
show. Yeah, well, it's because it's inspired by like he's basically, imagine the phase of like wacky like kung fu movies in the 80s, like the Jackie Chan style thing,
Yeah.
but in a comic book. That's basically what Iron Fist is.
Hmm.
And it doesn't work as a down to earth Netflix series where it's all kind of gritty and realistic. It just doesn't. I mean, it might get better as it goes on, but the first 2 episodes, I was just like, I can't handle this. And I love Iron Fist. I want him to be just like in a movie because it'd be awesome. But they're just, it just doesn't work with the tone, and it's so boring. And he spends.
I always thought it was kind of interesting that like
Mhm.
action and kung fu and stuff even worked in comic books because it's all still shots.
Yeah.
Like, like when Batman originated, he was like a martial arts
Mhm.
expert, and all the comic panels said like pow, bang, kaboom,
Yeah.
punch, kick, and I'm like, you can't like see them moving as much as you would on a TV screen. So
Yeah.
everyone's like, yeah, I love this comic character. They're a fighter, and I'm like, well, you're not really. I mean, maybe it depends on how talented the artist
Yeah.
is, but I don't know. Maybe because maybe I speed read through the comics too much and I don't pay enough attention to the art. Maybe I should pay more attention to the art.
Yeah,
Maybe
there
I'll
can
get
be
it.
some like really good action panels in comic books, but yeah, it's just I'm gonna try and keep with it, but I mean I feel like I'm not adding anything original to the conversation here when I say Iron Fist is a bit boring because everyone ever has said that. Like
That
it's
sounds really boring.
but yeah, it's man, I wish it was good, and it makes me mad, and it should be good.
Oh,
But currently, it's
sad.
just like rich white boy doesn't have all of his money and wants all of his money so that he can do something we don't know about yet. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't really care.
That's kind of like the cool and lame thing about um like comic book
Hmm.
characters, or like the type of character that you can pretty much give to any kind of writer and be like, make your own story,
Yeah,
and they can make it amazing or they can make it garbage.
yeah,
And so it's almost hard to love a character when really the things that we love are the writers and what they
yeah,
do with them.
yeah. No, that's true.
Like I had a friend that was telling me the other day that he was reading a Flintstones comic that
Oh,
just came
are
out.
we talking about the
And
modern gritty Flintstones comics? Because I've seen panels from this and I
maybe,
love it.
yeah, and they're all like really dark
Yep.
and have a lot of social commentary in them. And he was telling me, he's like, I just cried at a vacuum cleaner and a bowling ball. I'm like, what is this life? Like what we do with
Yeah,
the
no,
characters
I've
that
heard
we're
about that
given.
because there's a whole thing. There was a whole gay rights issue in the modern gritty Flintstones thing where like someone was trying to like slag off the like non-breeders because it's all like caveman times, so they're referred to as non-breeders because they're not breeding.
Uh,
And Fred
uh,
Flintstone or whatever was like, no, because they might not bring children into the world, but they still help the tribe. And it's like, what is this? Like, I'm all for bringing up these issues and discussing them in a serious way, which it does. But why in the Why in that context? It's so odd.
what the Flintstone? Yeah, it's crazy. You can take
Yeah.
like just a writer's idea and like all the dialogue in their head and be like, I can apply this to pretty much any character I want, like wherever it fits well. But like you can put it to any character you want, and you take some old doofy family from old Boomerang cartoons, and it's like, wow, what's happened to this thing from my childhood? Like, what's going on?
It's just weird, like, because I would recommend looking at, like, either buying or looking up panels.
Comic books are their own kind of magic.
So good. Like, I remember reading an article about it, about the Flintstones reboot, and I was just like, this is just, it's so good. I think they're doing it with, because Warner Brothers, who own DC and also all of the Hanna-Barbera stuff, I'm pretty sure they're doing gritty reimaginings of a lot of it, because I'm pretty sure there's a Scooby-Doo comic that's, like, all dark and gritty as well. Dang. And there's another one they were doing, but yeah, it's just
Scooby-Doo was already dark and gritty if you really think about it.
Was it?
They're all fighting monsters and they were stoned the entire time.
And then it's just always someone doing a crime, really, when you think about Scooby-Doo.
Doing a crime.
It's just actual crime, but it's like all prefaced with this goofy context. It's weird.
Yeah.
Could Scooby really talk, or were they all just so high they were hearing him talk? That's my question.
I think they were all really high, and yeah. And it was all like, people were just like either robbing a store or conning someone, but they were like, it's vampires! Like, yeah, they were on drugs.
Lake monsters! It was always lake monsters. If ever there was a lake, you're like, okay, there's a lake monster. And like, I bet there's...
And then they had those movies where they were like visiting, they were like, I can't remember what the movie was called, but they would like went to this like Dracula castle where this woman had like a group of Girl Scouts, and like one was Frankenstein and one was a vampire and one was a ghoul, and they had to like help them with their stupid little like Olympic games or something. And they were probably just a normal like Girl Scout troop, and they were on like so many hallucinogenics that they were like, oh, this girl's kind of short. I bet she's a ghoul.
Scooby snacks were laced with LSD.
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing is just John Cena just shows up in one of them, and Daphne...
Does he really?
Yeah, it's implied that Daphne wants to sleep with him. It's pretty funny.
Well,
it's just a thing. But anyway, we are well off track here.
No, we found a couple interesting topics. I just want to make a quick callback to after I like came back home from having so much fun at the convention, and then I like was finishing watching Miss Kobayashi. In that same episode 7, they were at a comic convention, and everyone was taking pictures of Toru, and everyone was having fun. And like this guy comes up, and he's all like hot and sweaty and tired, and she's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm hanging in there." And she says, "It seems like everyone here is being drawn to this place by something powerful. Do you have any idea what that is?" And he says, "Well, I think it's something that only exists in this place, in this moment, right now.
Yeah.
And I think everyone loves that." And I was like, wow, that's incredibly true when it comes to like how everyone going to certain conventions feels so like at home and at peace, like with who they are and what they love and like the people they're around.
Yeah.
And it's true that everyone is so drawn to that. And when the guy was so like exhausted and tired, and that's exactly how I felt the entire time. And yet I was like, I'm more tired now than I've ever been at my actual job. And yet I love what I'm doing because I love what it's for. And he says that to Toru, and she thinks about like, she has some flashbacks to her time with Kobayashi and how much she loves her. And she says that it like reconfirms how much she loves her. And like, that's just, I don't know, that's really sweet. Just like loving where you are at that moment in time and being drawn to that because it makes you happy.
Yeah.
And yep, it's cool stuff.
Good. What a good show.
Good show. This was a good show too.
Was it though?
I mean, except for the part where you're arguing about tipping a bartender, but who knows?
I've got to leave it in.
Tell us what you think.
Stop mentioning.
Tell us what you think about. Tell us what you think about tipping bartenders in the comments, and give me suggestions for books to read and games to play and TV shows to watch.
Tell us to watch Breath of the Wild.
And we'll see what I get to.
When I say watch Breath of the Wild, I mean play Breath of the Wild. Good. Yeah. Play Breath of the Wild. Come on.
Okay.
Ignore your dumb husband and just do it.
And we'll see you guys again at the beginning of next week.
Yeah, bye.
Bye, everybody.